This is 7 News with Ian Ross.
Good evening. A new era in aviation has begun with the arrival in Sydney minutes ago of the world's largest airliner on its first passenger flight. 7's Chris Reason has just stepped off the Airbus A380 from Singapore. And Chris, how was the flight?
Ian, the flight was faultless. I'm here to tell you that the A380 Airbus is about to set new benchmarks in aviation standards. It's the cleanest, the greenest, the biggest passenger jet aircraft in the world today. I can also tell you it's the quietest. Unlike the Qantas Jumbo that's trying to take off just beside us and ruin Singapore's moment. Just pan across over there, Richard, and show that for us. But Ian, the flight was quite simply extraordinary. The quietest plane in the world at the moment. As it took off this morning from Singapore, if the passengers hadn't burst into applause, you'd hardly have known that we'd just got airborne. The only downside today was this inclement weather. The pilot was forced to abandon the planned flyover that he'd planned to do on arrival here in Sydney. Still, there was plenty of other things for the passengers to see and do. As you can see behind me, this aircraft is massive. It could carry 800 economy class seats. It doesn't. The Singaporeans have configured it to have 417 seats. The best of them are in their first class, or the class they call beyond first class, the Singapore Suites. 12 private cabins with sliding doors for complete privacy. They have 1 metre wide seats, a full flat bed. Some of them have double beds. As you can imagine, passengers and media today were lining up to snake through that cabin and take a glimpse, much to the angst of the first classes. Economy seats are bigger and better. There's 1,000 channels of entertainment. It is the biggest development in aviation since the introduction of the Jumbo back in 1970. It took its time getting here, 2 years of delays, and a process today that began early this morning at Singapore's Changi Airport.
These passengers were queuing for a flight into history.
It's something that's going to change the face of air travel moving forward. Just very excited to be a part of it. This is terrific. This is big, and there's a lot of aviation buffs on this flight too.
Flight SQ380, the first scheduled run for an aircraft 7 years in the making, the world's biggest passenger airliner and quieter than a 747.
I think it'll just be good to tell our grandchildren.
Some won their seats, others bid in a charity auction. One first-class passenger paid $100,000.
I think it's great, actually. Yeah, so can't wait to get on it.
37 years ago, Thomas Lee was on the first commercial flight of the plane the A380 hopes to replace, the 747.
My father, my mother, my sister and myself on that first 747.
His companies have worked on equipment for the A380, staircases, luxury seats in the first-class suites and the ones in economy, but that's not all.
Well, we do the vacuum toilet waste system on board, the whole system, the water system.
But the A380 has suffered plenty of turbulence, billions of dollars over budget. It almost crippled maker Airbus, and this arrival is 18 months late. Qantas won't get its first until next August, one of many airlines hoping bigger will be better. Paul Kanak, 7 News.
And the Airbus flies back to Singapore tomorrow and then begins its first full commercial operations from Sunday between Sydney and Singapore, and then it'll take on London from next February. Ian?
All right, Chris, welcome back to reality. Chris Reason reporting.